My God. How does a bastard orphan son of a whore and a Scotsman dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean by providence, impoverished in squalor, grow up to be a hero and a scholar? The $10 founding father without a father got a lot farther by working a lot harder, by being a lot smarter, by being a self-starter. By 14, they had placed him in charge of the trade and charter, and every day while slaves were being slaughtered or carted away across the waves, our Hamilton kept his guard up. Inside he was longing for something to be a part of. The brother was ready to beg, steal, borrow, or barter. Then a hurricane came and devastation reigned, and our man saw his future dripping down the drain. Put a pencil to his temple, connected it to his brain, and he wrote his first refrain, a testament to his pain. Well, the word got around, they said this kid is insane, man. Took up a collection just to send him to the mainland. Get your education, don't forget from whence you came, and the world is gonna know your name. What's your name, man? Alexander Hamilton. His name is Alexander Hamilton, and there's a million things he hasn't done, but just you wait, just you wait.
This is the first year when we're honoring 3 honorees, and it's so perfect, so appropriate to bring Hamilton to the stage with Lin-Manuel Miranda, Thomas Kail, and Ron Chernow. It is a great triumvirate.
I'm past patiently waiting, I'm passionately smashing every expectation.
One of the things I find most exciting about this award this year is celebrating Ron Chernow's work in using the records of the United States to tell the story of Alexander Hamilton. In addition to Ron making an accessible text, we've got 2 creative geniuses who have brought their talents to tell the story in a manner that has never been used before, which has so captured the public in a new way. It's a unique celebration of American history.
We'll never be the same, Alexander. Yeah, I'm the damn genius that shot him.
My point of entry with Hamilton was his power with words. When I first met Lin back in 2008, one of the first things that he said to me was that Hamilton's life was a classic hip-hop drama. And of course, I had no idea what he was talking about.
He's a fighter, but he's also a writer. This is a guy who wrote an essay about a hurricane that destroys St. Croix, and that's the thing that gets him off the island. And that's a hip-hop character to me. That's what my favorite hip-hop artists do. They write about their circumstances, they write about their world, and if they write about it well enough, they transcend it.
One of the things that Ron's book did so admirably that we wanted to try to also preserve was he created a story about someone who had real propulsion. History is not just a series of events, and our show needed to have a story and not just be this happened, this happened, this happened.
It really takes a brilliant writer, a brilliant historian to bring those things to life, to pick out exactly the high points, to figure out what will resonate with people, what will really tell the story, what will advance the story.
It was a massive effort simply to master the facts of his life. And by the time I sat down to write the Hamilton biography, I had somewhere between 30 and 40,000 4x6 index cards of information.
As soon as I had his blessing to start writing, we just sort of started talking, and I would call him and ask him questions about the era. If Hamilton's at a party, what's his drink of choice? You want the big stuff and the granular stuff you can make lyrics from.
What I think the show is also doing is making people question and think about a time in our country when everything was possible, and to have a place to go where you can interact with those original documents and see what came from someone's hand and brain and heart and quill is one of the treasures of our country.
The best thing that's happened to me in my career was getting to meet Thomas Kail the week after I graduated from college. It's really fun. There's a lot of late nights, and there's a lot of laughing, and there's a lot of inside jokes. But the end result is we're all making the same show. And Tommy applies that diligence to me and my writing, and he applies it to David Corns with his set, and he applies it to Andy Blankenbuehler and his choreography. And he's also just one of the smartest people I know.
What I found in Lin is someone who was interested in digging in the same direction I was. If Lin had a shovel and he was digging a hole, I would just go jump in the hole and start digging. And then at some point I'd say, what are we digging for? The trust that we formed outside of the rehearsal room is what allows us to be in the rehearsal room and not doubt and not question.
It was always marvelous working with Lin and Tommy because they both had such deep integrity and such deep respect for the history. It was very rare, I think, perhaps unprecedented for a biographer to be so deeply incorporated. And they also felt that the history was so inherently dramatic that you didn't need to invent. What you had to do was really capture it.
When you could imagine Lin-Manuel Miranda on vacation reading Hamilton and his mind is clicking, he could connect the dots between what was going on in the 18th century and what's going on in the 21st century. He was able to use Ron Chernow's research and to bring it to the present and to make it accessible to people so that they would love it and enjoy it and not even realize that they're getting a history lesson.
And I've been amazed at how many parents have told me that their 11-year-old or 12-year-old is sitting there reading my 800-page book with the dictionary at their side and plowing through it, that the interest in Hamilton is that intense.
I had a feeling that 20 and 30-year-olds were going to dig the show. I didn't think it was going to be 9-year-olds memorizing every song for birthday parties. I didn't think it was going to be 70-year-olds taking their grandchildren and finding their own way in. That is how history stays alive and stays constantly refreshed and vital.
As a musical, I'm very proud of Hamilton, as it is, it's everything I know about writing musicals right now. I hope to learn more and keep learning over the course of my career. As a piece of history, it's maddeningly incomplete. It's a jumping off point, it's a drop in a bucket, it's a spoonful of ocean.
History is an argument without an end, and so I like to think I wrote an authoritative biography of Alexander Hamilton, but it will not be the last word.
My hope is that both Broadway continues to find new audience and that people go and seek out in DC a national archive, in their own town a historical society, find themselves wandering the stacks of a library. That would be enormously satisfying for all of us.
We watch young people take Hamilton as a jumping off point for telling their own stories, for telling stories untold by their history books. By digging into the archives and finding that story that hasn't seen the light of day or a best-selling book or a play yet, but is waiting to be told. The archives are full of them.